court is dealing with a structural mess, guardianship layered over biological parenthood, creating legal confusion that usually signals deeper dysfunction. The judge immediately pushes clarity into the record, which shows awareness that messy family roles often hide accountability gaps. This isn't just paperwork, it's about who failed which child.
This is quite honestly one of the worst cases of child neglect I've ever heard. Trigger warning, it's kind of brutal.
For those two children. But they are obviously still parents of River and Faith. Okay, confusing, but I just wanted all that in the record. So, Mr. Miller, I'll allow you to proceed. And also let's update what contact we've had with Ms. Wentz.
Okay. And I don't know if I made an announcement yet. I don't think so. Jared Miller and Kayla Martinez on behalf of the department.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of all the children.
Okay.
Okay.
And then, oh, sorry, Judge.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I guess before I get started, I'd like to ask if the court would take judicial notice of the affidavit filed in this case.
I will take judicial notice of the affidavit in support of removal of the children, which the court obviously read at the time it was presented. So I'll take judicial notice of it and its contents and the reasons for removal.
And also, before I start with Ms. Martinez, I wanted to make the court aware that in regards to Mrs. Wentz, her attorney, Garrett Tipsword, did get back to me. He stated that neither of them would be able to make court today, and that his client wants to relinquish her rights. So she has been in contact with our office, and we will be getting the paperwork out to her to deal with that. So I'll go ahead. Like to call Miss Martinez.
All right, then, Ms. Martinez, if you'll unmute and raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear that you'll tell us the truth today.
Yes, I do.
Okay, if you'll just speak up for me, that'd be great.
Miss Martinez, can you tell me how you've come to know the Scheidler family?
So I am the investigator on the case.
Okay. And before we get in too much on the facts surrounding this removal, have you attempted to make contact with the Scheidlers numerous times leading up to this hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When is the last time you were actually able to speak to them?
The day before the last hearing.
Okay. And since that time, you've been unable to make any contact with them, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. What were the, I guess we'll go back. Was this case initially going to be a services case?
Yes.
Or in fact was a services case?
Yes.
Okay. And what were the original issues or concerns the department had?
So the concerns were that the kids were not in school. There was no follow through on Allison's mental health needs. And there was possible drug use in the home.
Okay. And did the Scheidlers agree to work services initially in this case?
Yes.
Okay. After that agreement to work services, did they allow any contact with them by any caseworkers or attempt to do anything asked by the department of them?
No.
No. Okay. And Were the children initially all placed with a relative?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Um, and did that relative end up having a CPS case of their own opened?
Yes,
And is that why the children are no longer in that home?
that is correct.
Okay. And during the time since the original services case, um, did the department find out that one of the children, Carter, had a major medical issue?
Yes, sir.
And what was that?
So he had an infection on his right foot. His big toe was infected and the toe next to it.
Were you able to speak with the Scheidlers about his toe?
Yes, with Mr. Scheidler.
And what did you learn in that conversation?
So I notified him that he was scheduled to have surgery. And he said that he didn't think that it was that bad. I told him that if he was aware that Carter had maggots on his toe, he said that the kids had told him he had worms on his toe, but he thought they were lying.
And did Carter end up having to have some type of surgery?
Yes, he's had 2 surgeries, and there might be possibly a third one.
Okay. And that was a pretty serious issue, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Um,
Placement stability starts working in the children's favor, and that contrast matters. Once removed, the children begin doing well, which indirectly exposes the environment they came from. Improvement after removal is one of the strongest silent arguments in these cases.
where are the children currently?
So Carter is placed in a kinship home, and Allison and the other 2 are placed together.
Okay. And how are they doing in their placement currently?
They're all doing really well.
Okay. And do we believe that due to the parents' lack of attention to the medical issues, um, as well as other allegations contained in that affidavit, that returning them to the parents at this time um, would pose a danger to their health and safety?
Yes.
Okay. Um, have you heard it all from Ms. Wentz during your investigation?
I talked to her several times. So she was aware of, like, our involvement. And then the last contact that I had was whenever she provided me with her attorney's information.
Okay. And did she state to you that she wanted to relinquish her rights?
She didn't express that to me, but there was several talks with her asking her if she was interested in taking placement of Allison and Carter, and it was always no.
Okay. Um, I think I can pass the witness, Judge.
Okay. Ms. Zavala, any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Miller, any further witnesses or any further questions of this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Any other witnesses to call today?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then, Ms. Martinez, do you think that there's a continuing and an ongoing danger for these children to be placed back in the home with Christy and Christopher Scheidler?
Yes, Your Honor.
And obviously, Ms. Wentz has expressed her desire not to have the children back.
That is correct.
All right, and parents are meaning, well, Christy Scheidler, Christopher Scheidler, parents of River and Faith, have so far not indicated any willingness to cooperate with us or to participate in services or to do much about children. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. And then same with respect to Carter and Allison, they technically are not parents of anymore, but they're guardians of those children.
That is correct.
Okay. All right, then. Ms. Zavala, do you have a recommendation to make today?
I do, Your Honor. I've visited with all 4 of the children. I do believe it's in their best interest that the department be named temporary managing conservator at this time. I do ask that even if parents do not surface and there aren't visits set up for parents, that visitation time be specifically designated so that the siblings can visit together. I'd like to see that happen once a week, just as if it was a parent visit. Also, if parents do surface and any visitation is established, I would ask that it be made clear that the children have a right to choose whether to participate in those visits or not.
All right. Okay, then at this time, I do find the evidence is sufficient to name the Department of Family and Protective Services as the temporary managing conservator of all the children. I find there would be a continuing danger to return the children home to any of the parents at this time. And we will continue to try to work and engage the parents towards service plans. If Ms. Wentz is going to relinquish, we'll try to get that secured so we have that taken care of and we can move forward. I will see everybody back for a status hearing on May 14th, 2026. That'll be on a 9 o'clock docket. If the children do not wish to visit with them at this time, I'm not going to force that issue till the kids have engaged in some counseling and we'll just see where that goes. But if they are adverse to contact with any of the parents at this point in time, then I'm not going to force that issue right now. All right. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it, and I'll see you back in May.
The final decision reflects a complete shift in priorities: child stability over parental rights. Naming the department as temporary managing conservator is a strong move, signaling that the court sees no safe path for return right now. The recommendation to prioritize sibling visits is strategic, preserving healthy bonds while separating them from harmful environments. Even more telling is the court allowing children to refuse contact with parents. That's a major signal of how seriously their emotional state is being taken. Courts don't usually hand that level of control to children unless there's concern about trauma. The judge isn't just managing logistics, they're protecting psychological recovery. Scheduling a future hearing keeps the process open, but the direction is clear. The burden is now entirely on the parents to prove change, not on the system to offer more chances.